to a pretty good position. This is second week of triangles, so we're going to be looking at ways we can get triangles from non-conventional positions. So here I have a good side control. I have pretty good control of this arm here. My knee is by his head. That's one of the key elements to being able to do this one. And then a lot of times they're kind of trying to frame up on me, so I can't just go for this immediately, but I can kind of wiggle side to side, kind of start smushing down. It might take a couple minutes, and I can use my head control all the while that I'm smushing this down. Once I feel this get weak, because it's getting a little too compressed, I can push it down and be a little bit careful on this. Don't do it like too aggressively, because the weakest direction to push this arm is right over the shoulder, but that actually compresses the elbow quite a lot. I'm going to push this down. You can kind of feel how much resistance there is. So you're going to push it down to where there's not too much resistance. And now I'm going to need to swing this back leg all the way to this side without losing this control here that I have here. So I'm going to lean my head over his head, and that allows me to bring this up and over. Sometimes their hand gets kind of stuck in here, and that's okay. You can just sit on it. And usually they'll just pull it out because it's really uncomfortable. I'm going to curl his head up with the back of my hand. And then that same theory we talked about last week, I'm going to touch my knee pit to the side of his neck before I bend. And now I come here. Some people like to lock up their figure four here. I think it's hard on the ankle even when you can't get it, and most of the time I'm going to loosen it up a little bit while I talk. And even if I can get it, I don't feel very comfortable with it. So I like to just try to turn my knees so that my shins are parallel to each other. And then I'm going to draw my back knee in and compress down at the same time. So basically you're without a person, just so that you can see, I'm drawing this together and then squishing down at the same time. One more time. Doing whatever I do in side control, get this clear. Now I'm fighting this arm. Some people can do it where they actually straighten the arm way out here and then swing it around. I find that's a very long reach for me, but you can play around with that and see if you like it. I prefer to come in here, come up, lift the head, turn the angle. If I need to, I can lift the head and do a couple rebites, and that should get it nice and tight. The second one, I'm already in mount, and I'm kind of maintaining good control. Oftentimes people will actually put that elbow in for you, which isn't necessarily a bad idea, but if I have good weight, I can, and blocking here so that he can't actually start shrimping, I can actually pin that down and slide my way up in the same manner that we did on the last move. Lift the head, turn the angle, turn, I'm facing perpendicular to him as I squeeze and finish the triangle. Again, he gets his elbow in, and I just scoop myself up. This knee is staying tight in this armpit to limit his mobility. Lift the head, sit, straighten the leg, curl, switch to where I'm holding the head with the other hand, lift, turn, and squeeze. So now we're from the back. Like, there's a lot of potential ways to get it. A very methodical way is to get the cross grips. So from here, I threaten chokes to make him bring his hands up. And then the fight is kind of goofy because I'm just kind of switching hands around, and whichever hand I want, I can threaten the choke to make him bring it up. When I have what I like to call the Pac-Man, because it's like a eating mouth, I know that I am now ready to do my back triangle entry. So I'm going to fall to the underhook side, shove this as high as I can, and kind of towards his hips. And that's going to give me access to this arm here. Draw it back. And switch hands again. And now a lot of times, you know, people might just finish the choke from here, but today I really want the triangle from the back. So as he's trying to move around, he may move this way. Now my leg just slides right up. It's over his shoulder. Now I grab my own shin. I'm just going to rotate to the other side. And I'm keeping this leg here tight so that he can't escape. And then I'm gonna just start scooting my hips back and rotating that angle, and I'm doing those little bites that we've been talking about to get this tighter and tighter. Take this foot over, hide my laces, and squeeze. Do we want a different angle on that one? Or okay.
Probably.
Let's see. Oh, this is good better. Alright, so same thing, we're doing whatever, biting, and I'm like, oh, I have my Pac-Man now. Fall to the side, stick this elbow high, this leg comes over, hide my shoelaces so that you can't get that arm out while I'm adjusting. I can kind of take my time, and then as he rolls over, this comes up onto the shoulder, I grab my own shin, start rotating, and notice I'm keeping this bite, but I'm opening and closing the leg kind of like a ratchet. So I'm ratcheting, ratcheting, ratcheting. When I feel his neck real tight against my inside knee pit, that's when I bring this in and squeeze. If they're super unchokeable for some reason, you can always wrist lock or whatever. I'm holding a weird grip right now so that I'm not choking him while I show these things, but you can also shoulder lock this way, wrist lock this way. There's a lot of other things you can do if they're very unchokeable for some reason.